Hey, welcome everyone to the From the Shadows. Well, actually, the Midweek Howl, the non-paranormal part of the From the Shadows podcast. And for all of
Just
those,
call it your weekly letdown. Just call it your weekly letdown. We're going
the,
down the road we were
the weekly
going a
letdown.
while ago.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we have gained literally thousands of new listeners in the past month. Okay, and what I notice is,
Yeah, but look what.
but what I notice is people do not read or pay attention that this part is not paranormal. So they get on here, listen to me and you talk
What
about,
exactly does paranormal mean?
well, I think they're tuning in.
Para would mean what? Because we
Uh,
certainly aren't normal.
well, they're listen, they want to listen. Paranormal encapsulates ghosts, Bigfoot, Dogman, UFOs, all the stuff that people tune in for on Fridays. But some people, for some reason, don't get the memo when we start the show out and say this is the non-paranormal part. This means we're not talking about those things. Although
Well,
we
technically, I've been known to be a dog man.
and you dated a Bigfoot, right? When the
I
homecoming?
guarantee it. Yeah, I
although
guarantee it.
although with the subject of today's with this could be paranormal because we could be talking about some ghosts. And I want to start out my condolences, my sympathy goes out to you. I know you had to. I know your dog didn't make her pass
Pass.
today.
Yep. Pass today.
Pass today.
I almost canceled the show because of it.
Really?
I almost said I almost went in the morning and said I'd never do another one just because I was bummed out.
Oh, jeez. Well, see, that's
My dog died, and my $800 pickup did too. So between those two things, I don't know which one was upsetting me the most.
ooh. Well, you can replace the $800 pickup. Well, not really, probably.
Well, it's
No.
pretty damn hard. When's the last time you tried to replace an $800 pickup?
Yeah, it's probably going to be easier to replace the dog. Are you going to get another dog, or do you have?
No, no.
You
My
know?
wife did way more dogs. We had no more spouses, no more kids, and no more dogs.
Ooh. Well, then I guess you got to get a new truck. I guess that's all there is to it. Jeez, and that's why I don't like. I mean, my kids all through the years, they wanted dogs, they wanted cat, they wanted animals. Now they had farm animals, and there's a shelf life on those, and when that comes and goes. But my girls and my ex-wife wanted to get one of those little tiny dogs. It was God, I can't remember what it was. It was like a little teacup poodle or something like that, just a little dog. And I said, I'm like, no. And the point is I don't like taking care of dogs. I'm sorry, I just don't. Kids are enough. When you go places, I don't want to have to worry about them. It's not fair to the dogs. They're totally dependent on you. So I was just like, well, they went ahead and behind my back went and got this dog, like 6, 7, $800 for this dog. Okay. Which at the time we could not afford, but they decided to go get it. And they just, my ex-wife, to, she thought it was funny.
That's why she's an ex.
That's why she's an ex. And so we had the dog probably 3 years. And one morning, it was my second oldest daughter. She was going to her freshman year of high school. First day of varsity volleyball practice her freshman year, she gets up, lets the dog out, but it never comes back to the door, and then she's got to go to volleyball practice. And as they're pulling down our driveway at the time, they see the dog laying there in the yard, dead. And
What happened to it?
it was either a hawk or an owl. They think it was a hawk.
They grabbed it and let it go?
Grabbed it, killed it, and let it go. Just to kill it. Just to kill it. And I asked,
well, maybe they spooked him when they came out looking for it.
Well, I asked, so the guys at the farm said that like they thought an owl would only hunt to kill and eat the dog. It would have took it, you'd have never seen the dog again. But they said they would watch hawks all the time as they were harvesting fields, just sit up there in the trees and just if a rabbit took off or a squirrel or something, they just go kill them just to kill them. Like they were such killing machines that they
Like
could,
for entertainment,
yeah, like for entertainment. And so my stepdad
which is
does,
like practice. They're getting ready for when they're hungry and it's game day.
yeah, exactly, which is a shame. So there you go. That poor dog then gets unceremoniously murdered by a hawk or some other bird of prey. And then my daughter on her first day of volleyball practice is just upset, crying, a total mess. And then my other daughter was a mess. And it's like, well, if you guys had just listened to me, we wouldn't have had any of this happen. Like, I don't know. Not that I wish it would have happened, but it was, that's just the stuff. I don't like death is hard enough, and the more times you can avoid
Yes.
it, the better. Dogs or whatever. Because I'd love to have a dog. Be nice, like how many TV shows that dog sit there and watch with you, or how many times it'll sit by while you're
Everyone for almost 14 years, 13 and a half years.
That's right. Stood
I
out
sit by the pool with him every night. I sit by he's out the pool watching TV with me, swimming every night.
Yeah, yeah, and that's great companionship. The bad thing is, at some point, it's over. So I'm glad. I know you said your dog was sick. I'm
Now
glad.
you just got remarried.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, it's just companionship, but sooner or later it's over.
Instead of
I can't believe you won't get a dog, but you'll get married the third time.
it's only the second. It's only the second time, and she's going to outlive me. She's way healthier than I am. She's going to outlive me. So then she might have to get married a third time. There you go. Or she would probably just get a dog. And once they get rid of me, then just get a dog. Which, so I hate to be such a downer, but it leads us right into last week's, since we didn't have a new show last week, all the celebrity deaths we missed. And
I was in mourning over them. Yeah.
well, so the first one, who you said you didn't even know who it was, Malcolm Jamal Warner, the guy that played Theo on the Cosby Show.
Was he the guy that was swimming? Did he drown out in there?
He drowned, yes. Down.
Was he on a surfboard or something?
I never heard that he was on a surfboard. Never heard he was on a surfboard. But what struck me as this is because I grew up with the Cosby kids. You grew up and but how do you? I was always kind of hoping all those people on the Cosby Show would outlive Bill Cosby and the stain that he put on all their
Is
careers.
Bill Cosby still alive?
Bill Cosby's still alive. He's out of prison, still alive. And I just thought, man, this guy was he was a good actor. He'd done a lot of stuff. He kept working ever since the Cosby Show. And he never got out of the shadow of Bill Cosby. And then all the stuff that ended up, really allegedly happened. Yes. Which some of it, I think, probably did happen. But I felt bad. And 50, I mean, he was my age, our age, dying.
That's when it happens.
That's right. So I don't go swim.
I was telling my son that a while ago in the 50s, people in their 50s, I said, that's why there used to be all, that's why usually cops and firemen have that special retirement, because they were all dying they were dying in their late 40s, early 50s, and they weren't ever getting to collect anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I know a lot of guys in the fire department that worked with my grandpa and uncle that did not get to be retired for very long. That's for sure.
Of course, they didn't say anything about them drinking like a fish and smoking like a chimney. But,
well, I mean, come on, that's just part of the job, right?
The lifestyle back in the day was.
It definitely was in the 60s and 70s, like all those guys are smoking and drinking. Then, of course, the great Ozzy Osbourne passed away.
I know. I can't see how that happened.
Well, I
seen James May playing at his funeral. Did you see that?
No. Who played at his funeral?
James May.
Who's James?
Or no, it was Jimmy Page, maybe.
Oh,
Who's the guitarist for Led Zeppelin?
That's Jimmy Page, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
long gray-haired guy.
Well, he wouldn't have been. He'd have been long blonde hair, right?
No, that's
Okay.
this guy had gray hair. That's who he was. The
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin guy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I heard on a
There's so many 75-year-old.
rock stars.
What were you gonna say?
Well, I was just saying.
Yes, British rock stars. There's so many.
Yeah, they're all pickled, right? Aren't those guys all pickled?
I guess.
Well, I heard on a show that he really actually, because it was only 2 weeks before he had played that farewell show,
Right.
and they said he really had told some people he had hoped he would die on stage at that farewell show, that he would like sit back down on the like he must have been on like a big throne or something.
Well, it looked like just a big chair, but yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And that they said he had secretly hoped, that he would end up dying. He'd just fall back into the
Who was
chair.
the comedian? Wasn't there a comedian? There's somebody that died on stage, and they thought it was a joke. Who was that?
Well, I don't think it was anybody like real famous. Like it wasn't somebody like a household name. I do remember that, but I don't think it was a super household name. But Black Sabbath, I think, was probably a little bit right before our time. Like they were super. I did not realize how super popular they were in the early like 70s.
I don't understand why they were, but
they were huge.
No, that was a joke. That was a joke.
They said they were the biggest rock band behind Led Zeppelin in the early 70s in the United States. So I heard today, so when they were coming out with their first album, okay, it coincided with Charles Manson's trial. So they were going to have like a big, they were going to have
Did they do it on purpose?
No, they had no idea. So the album came out on Friday the 13th, and they were going to do a tour. And they decided, because the trial was going on with Charles Manson, and there was already, even though Black Sabbath really had vehemently against devil worshiping and stuff like that. Like Ozzy Osbourne famously said, the only spirit he cared to worship should be at least 80 proof. He said, he said he didn't want any trouble. Like they were really against the whole devil worshiping thing. It's just that the Satanists and Church of Satan or whatever, like really took Black Sabbath in as one of their own. And so they said the day there was supposed to be a parade in San Francisco or outside of Los Angeles somewhere, that the record company ended up canceling. It was going to be like a big public appearance for Black Sabbath. And
They canceled because why?
Because of the Charles Manson stuff going on. They canceled everything.
Okay. Yeah.
Like all the public appearance, they did not want to be tied into that. Okay. And what is it? Is it Anton? What was his name? The head of the Satan, the devil worshippers.
You got me, man. I don't know.
Anton Levine, maybe? Anton Levine?
We don't have them down here in the Ozarks.
Yeah, you do. Anyway.
They stay in the closet. They stay in the closet.
He had organized a huge parade that the day that Black Sabbath was supposed to show up for this public appearance, and they didn't show up, and they just went ahead and had the big parade with all the devil worshipers, all the people dressed up, like in their black and like high priestess for Satan and stuff. It was crazy. It was a crazy story, but yeah, I didn't realize that they were that big, but they were huge. And our buddy Jake Brennan does some great Disgraceland does some great episodes on Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath. If any of our fans want to go do a deeper dive in them, you don't normally send people to other podcasts, but I'd go to his podcast any day and just check that stuff out. It's so good. It's so well put together.
Mm-hmm. Unlike ours.
Yeah, not like ours. But so then Ozzy goes, which I think everybody was amazed that he lived as long as he did. And then the next day,
Sure.
Hulk Hogan dies.
That's the one that surprised me, but I guess he was in bad shape last couple weeks.
Yes, he was.
I read he was had an oxygen tank.
Well, I think our buddy Wade just saw him last fall. He was, what was he hawking? He was at some grocery store. He had like maybe an energy drink or a beer or something. I don't know what he had, but oh gosh, you had to buy like a case of something to get his autograph. Get his autograph. I think that was Hulk Hogan.
Well,
He sent me a picture. Wade did right after he passed away.
I didn't realize he was 6'7". I think 6'7". Does that sound right?
6'6", 6'7". He was a big dude. He was legitimately.
I googled it up because Carson had him on, and Carson started by talking about how giant he was, and I think he's 6'7" is what they said.
Well, let me look here. I'm gonna look at the picture Wade sent me with him. Now, Wade is a legit. So Wade's a legit 6'3". Can you see the picture? So Wade is barely an inch shorter, maybe. So maybe Hulk.
So you tell me he's not 6'7", or maybe he wasn't 78 at the height before.
Yeah.
I think Tommy Lee Jones said that in No Country for Old Men. Time is a way of flattening a man out.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I tell you, there's some ESPN articles that said that he's certainly flattened out.
Yeah, he kind of got.
He said some questionable things.
Yeah, he got involved in politics. He got involved in, yes, he did say some questionable things and did some questionable things. Why is there no, there's no shame in just aging gracefully. You don't have to, shock everybody all the time to.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. I'm going to start that tomorrow.
Aging gracefully?
Yes.
I think you've aged pretty gracefully. I mean,
Huh?
I don't know. Then, but like, so it's weird because, Hulk Hogan really, I don't hardly remember my childhood that Hulk Hogan wasn't around. I wasn't a huge Ozzy fan. And Michael Jamal Warner came later, but I always remember Hulk Hogan wrestling in the mid-70s. He would wrestle on, my grandma used to love that, the stuff out of the South. Oh, it was on TBS. What the heck was it? Was that the WCW at the time? But
I don't know.
But they had like Tommy Wildfire Rich and the Junkyard Dog and all those guys. And Hulk Hogan and those guys would come through every now and then. They would be like the talent. They would come and yeah, I remember.
You think he made any money?
He had to. I know Vince McMahon owned those guys, lock, stock, and barrel. But I think if anybody made money, I think him and Ric Flair.
I was trying to read a poorly written article about the Brock Lesnar Vince McMahon thing today.
Yeah.
And it was poorly written. You couldn't tell what, the headline said one thing and the article said something different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But basically that Vince McMahon had Lesnar under contract and he can't do shit about it to get out. I guess they're trying to sue to get out of it. You know what I mean? He did something. He appeared on something and wasn't supposed to because he's got to get everything cleared from Vince McMahon. It made no sense to me.
Well, isn't Brock Lesnar's pretty old, right?
Well, he's close to our age.
Yeah. So he's not really still wrestling a bunch, isn't he? Shouldn't he be out doing like?
No, it was like a promotional deal.
Mm-hmm.
He attended a promotional deal, and wasn't supposed to because he didn't have permission.
God, can you imagine? Imagine it be a professional and not being able to do something unless you got permission from Vince
Well, you
McMahon.
think no, the professional's one thing, but can you imagine being 6'3", 240, undefeated All American wrestler? You know what I mean? Just you'd think he'd just go take Vince McMahon, break him in half.
What do you
And I know
think?
Vince McMahon's a pretty good sized guy, right?
Yeah, but he is. I thought he'd step down, and he's away from everything now because of all
That's what
the.
I'm saying. You'd walk over there and say, unless you want your hip broke, old man, you're going to sign this.
Well, wait a second. Isn't Triple X the guy? Isn't Triple X date Vince or married to Vince McMahon's daughter, and he kind of runs everything? Now
I don't know.
you might
Could
not
be.
go, you might not go tell Triple X. He might, eh. And I forgot back to Ozzy. I got another mess. I got a message this morning from one of our loyal listeners who was listening to our theme song. And if you listen to the theme song at the end, you can kind of hear more singing by my buddy Mike Allen. But people think there's a part there where he sounds like Ozzy Osbourne. Because over the years, people have asked, yeah, Christine Gant. Christine Gant sent me a message this morning and asked about it. And I told her, and she goes, yeah, she's like, when she listened to the rest of it, he didn't sound so much. But I said, I'll tell him that's kind of an honor for people to think you sound like Ozzy. Now, on the other hand,
Yeah.
I'd love to have an unknown song by Ozzy that he gave us permission to use as the theme song. That might be a better story.
Yeah. Oh, I think you could just not even get permission and play it until rack up the money by the time they sue you and get you to stop.
That would be like the
You'll have
first,
spent it all.
that'd be the first episode. I'd be the first. It'd be so expensive to license an Ozzy song. It wouldn't be fun. Well, but speaking of songs, the other guy that died that really got screwed in this whole mess of celebrity deaths last week was Chuck Mangione, the great jazz
Yeah, because he can
musician.
play, couldn't he? Yeah.
He was good.
You mean because more famous people died, so he
Well,
didn't get the.
yeah, he's kind of like, well, first of all, he was like the fourth one. I mean, I'm sure there's probably others, but he's like the fourth dude to die. Everybody's over it, the celebrity thing. Plus, the old saying, everything only happens death happens in threes. So they probably,
Yeah.
but he probably, Chuck Mangione probably doesn't get the respect he deserves, but he had hit radio songs in the 70s, as a jazz musician, which I don't think happens anymore. But there's a lot of instrumentals back when we were growing up. You know what I'm saying?
It's called yacht rock now, I think, isn't it?
Did he do yacht rock?
I think that's what it is. Yeah, a lot of Michael McDonald and stuff like that.
Dun, dun, dun. Hey, that one song, yeah. What the heck was the name of that song? But they used to play it all the time. It was great, actually. But hold on here. But yeah, Chuck Mangione. I go check out his music. Let's help Chuck's estate out. Let's get his streams up.
Yeah.
Go follow him on Spotify. There was one good story. I totally didn't get to. I didn't get to. We didn't get to talk about the county fair, but there was a good story. The last night of the fair, it was pouring down rain. I was in the camper. I was doing some work, and it stopped raining. And was it Friday night? No, it was Friday night. Friday night. And Christy had volunteered to work in the office because her dad's treasurer and had some young girls missing. So she's in the office answering phones and, just helping if people come in to get their checks. And I decided to go walk up to the office just to see how she was doing. She'd been, I'd been up there for a couple hours, and I walk in there, she's not in there. And they go, "Hey, you better go down to the youth building and make sure she's not in a fight." Like, fight in the youth building? Like, what's going on?
And you said, if she's fighting, I ain't going down there.
So they said, here's what happened is So the youth building was not being used, but it gets rented out for weddings and other events. Okay.
Mhm.
And a wedding planner had come up from Columbus because somebody in the area was using it for a wedding in September. And she decided on the Friday night of the fair, she was going to show up and wanted the fair manager to show her around the building. And of course, he's got
It's-
million things to do. He can't go do that. Well, this lady calls on the phone. Christy answers it, and she goes, "Hold on." The lady's like, "Can I talk to the fair manager? We're up here." And so she puts it on mute, or so she thought. And she says, "Hey, David, the fairway, there's this lady from Columbus who's, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know what to tell her. I told her you were busy. What do you want me to tell her?" He goes, he's like, I told her not to come till after the fair. And all of a sudden the lady goes, ma'am, I can hear you. I'm not, I'm not on, I'm not on mute. I can hear
Did
you.
she say, "We wanted you to hear us, you dumbass"?
No. So Christy, being the professional, gets back on and says, I am so sorry, but we're super busy, but somebody will come down and show you. So then she gets off the phone and she's totally embarrassed. And the fair manager goes, "Hey, you got to go down and show her now." She's like, what do you mean?" So I walked down there.
She should have just went down there and said somebody else's name.
Well, I went down there and I walk in, and of course, I start teasing her and the wedding planner and everybody right away about the whole deal. And they all, they're laughing about it. They've gotten over it or whatever. But before we get out of showing them around the building, the wedding planner offered me and Christy the job of bartending the wedding in late September. She goes, she goes, "You guys want to bartend the wedding? We need somebody who doesn't know the family." And she goes, "We don't supply the bartenders, but," she goes, "the couple will have to hire them, but it's easier to hire somebody that doesn't know anybody. So when you got to cut off Uncle Tom,
Artem, yeah.
yeah, that he doesn't get mad at
Whoa, that's a heck of a one to
cous,
say.
cousin Jimmy." "What do you mean, Uncle Tom?" "Uncle Tom." Well,
Yeah,
that's because
yeah.
you're that's because
Mm-hmm.
because your
So
mind's in.
Malcolm in the middle is drinking too much, so if somebody would have cut him off,
Yeah,
he wouldn't have went out there and drowned.
yeah. Malcolm. That's the wrong Malcolm in the middle. But anyway, but he was he was in the middle, I think. Anyway, um, but yeah. So we haven't decided whether we're going to go work out wedding or not. I think maybe I might be able to make some good tips. You know, since I don't drink, there's no point. There's no I'm not gonna be dipping into the supply then. So who knows? Maybe I found a new profession. Maybe
Yeah.
I can finally retire from the post office then.
You gonna go watch Cocktail with Tom Cruise first to kind of prepare yourself?
Have the hippie shakes. Um, no, I don't know. I better not. I better not get that crazy. Although you do kind of remind me of who is his mentor, Brian Brown.
I don't remember.
Yeah, the English guy that killed himself on the boat.
Literally?
In the movie, you don't remember that in Cocktail? Right.
Oh
His
no,
English.
I don't. I only saw it one time, and I don't remember.
You just watched it because of Elizabeth Shue. Is that why? Is that why you're watching?
I don't remember even why. I don't remember. I think I was on a date and watched it. I don't remember.
Yeah, that would have been back in our dating era.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it was so.
Back
I
in
don't
high school,
remember much about it.
it'd been a high school date, probably.
Yeah, when you had to do court. Remember when you had to actually entertain
Yeah.
court
Yeah.
girls instead of just doing whatever they do now? I don't even know what they do. TikTok.
Snapchat them or whatever. I mean,
I guess, yeah.
good Lord. So there you go. So yeah, it was an eventful. Then I sent you the picture. I think if anybody follows me on Instagram, I sent you put the picture up of our horse losing Friday night by nose.
You sent it to me. Yeah.
I sent it to you. I think I put it up on Instagram for everybody to see. Oh my gosh, that was close. But the crazy thing is before that, the horse, 3 races before that, so we didn't even get to stay to watch our horse lose by a nose. But a horse got loose on the track, and that horse ran as fast as I've seen any horse run. It threw the jockey off and just took off running and dragging that cart all over the place. I mean, it was a miracle. Nobody got hurt. The horse didn't get hurt. But it's just because to show you those animals aren't anything to mess around with, especially horses.
Sure.
I mean, geez.
They don't say strong as a horse for nothing.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Now, you'll appreciate this. We went to the Ohio State Fair yesterday. And
boys.
We went down to the Ohio State Fair. Lots of highway patrolmen working down there. Okay. And I know some highway patrolmen. I'm not like you. I don't know them all, but I know a couple. And we're in one of the buildings at the state fair where all the vendors set up and they're trying to sell you windows or, a back massager.
One of the few air-conditioned buildings if it's like the Missouri State Fair.
Yes, exactly.
So you're in there just cooling off or what?
I don't know. They wanted to go in there. It wasn't even that it needed to be cool. But we're walking around and I see this trooper that I think I know. Okay. And he's kind of looking at me and he's standing there like in front of whatever little section he was in. And my eyesight's not great. And I'm kind of glancing and all of a sudden he smiles. And I'm like, oh, so I go over to him and he gives me a hug or whatever. And it's a dude, his name's Bob Marshall, good dude. He's out of like the Ashland over here. He was in Death Block with me or whatever. And he goes, dude, if you did not come over to me, he goes, I was waiting. He goes, if you walk by me, he goes, I was going to run up and tackle you from behind. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, I was just going to tackle you from behind. Well, he's a little black dude. I'm a big white. And I told Christy, could you imagine how quick that would have been on TikTok or somewhere or on he's just getting his back. This little black state highway patrolman tackled this old white guy. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God you didn't let me walk by. Exactly. But he's a great dude. He does he puts on like MMA and mixed
martial arts type stuff
and boxing stuff. Like he does them around. Yeah. Gets nice little crowds and stuff.
Well, there's an opening now that Hawk died.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.
God only knows what's hiding